Welcome back to the Full Time Ultras. We're looking at the things we've learned from the Premier League game week, the last game week. It was a surreal experience the way the match week ended, especially with City and Chelsea. We've got a lot of games to look forward to, the big ones. And my name is Shahan. Like people say, I don't introduce myself, but yeah, I am Shahan. And we've got the gang back together. It's coming out after a long, we're coming a video out after a long time, and we've got Mr. Raghav over here. How was the game week for you?
Same old, same old, same old. I think as a Manchester United fan, it's just a story on loop. It just plays out every week differently, with the same heartburns and everything. But yeah, it's used to it.
Not a very bad game week. We did okay. We'll
I
get
mean,
into
yeah,
it
we'll get
more.
into it. Yeah.
Over here we have a happy Chelsea fan. Little bit disappointed, but way happy than the last time
Oh God, yeah.
we did an episode. Um, how was it for you? The week?
I'm pretty happy. Yeah. Didn't we gave City a run for their money, and I'm really pleased with the determination and the drive. So
Wearing that beautiful shirt with pride.
yeah, my favorite kid from this season. Thanks.
And it's debut time for our Arsenal fan. He's finally flown in to be on this podcast. No, he hasn't actually, but we finally got a little bit of representation on our podcast. The Arsenal fan, Mr.
Delusional
Raghu.
guy.
How was it for you first time on the podcast?
No, I mean just looking at the setup and the work that goes into this week in week out, just really humbled by what you guys do,
Yeah.
and very excited to be part of this and speak about football with you guys in general, right? So yeah, very happy and thanks for all the things that you guys do, but very happy to be
Because
here
you
in
are
person.
mostly behind the scenes, and now for the first time you actually come on camera, so you finally know how different it is.
Yeah,
Right?
and what it takes to
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get yourself out there and talk.
Has it-
Even though it's something that binds us all together,
Mm.
it's a different experience and a different thing to be creating content and discussing it with just so many people. So yeah.
Has it also been your lifelong dream for the past 2 weeks?
Yes, I mean the being part of the setup and everything is it's been amazing, but really excited to get started to
know.
discuss this.
And we are all excited to start, so let's go on with the show ahead. And there's only, I think, one place where we can start talking about, and that is Manchester City versus Chelsea. What a game that was at Stamford Bridge. It was, for a neutral, it was a perfect game to watch end to end, some brilliant attacking football. We'll start with our resident fan, Chelsea fan over here. How was it for you watching a game like that?
Apu, Aditya, before you say anything, I think we should just pool in money and just buy a BP machine for the guy because every week it's just one. His BP needs to be checked every 15 minutes when there's a Chelsea game on.
Yeah, I mean when you face the top two teams in consecutive weeks, it's bound to happen. And yeah, it was a very nerve-wracking game. It was very back and forth. Very pleased with how we played. Just we put them under so much pressure. We rattled them. I mean we created so much chaos, and we never backed down from every time we went behind, we just got back into it. And I'm really proud of the way we played and the shift that the players put in.
Did the performance surprise you?
No, I mean, so you would ask me, remember, if you previously on the show, you'd ask me when we had this fixture list out, that you would ask me if Poch would be under pressure after these results, or these games rather. And I told you then that I don't think we'll be too bad against the big teams. And it's what's playing out right now. And I mean, on that note, there's a fun stat. Chelsea have scored more goals against the top four teams, like the big six teams, sorry. Played 4 games, scored 11 goals, than they have against the rest of the teams. They scored 10 goals against the rest of the teams. So
Yeah.
that's just speaks for itself, I feel.
Raghu, coming on to their opponents, Manchester City, considering how they were playing at the start of last season, where they were just bulldozing over teams, and Haaland was scoring hat-tricks left, right and center, and they were killing teams off. This season, it kind of City look a little bit frail. They came to the Emirates, and they were not very convincing. They lost in the end. They went to Wolves. Obviously, they were missing Rodri in both of those games. They went to Wolves. They lost over there as well, and another setback over here. Is there something that's wrong with Manchester City? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, about the Arsenal game that you mentioned, it also shows how we've grown as a side, and sticking, like last season we were very close, but this season again, how close we're getting to the ultimate goal that we have, and part of the bigger project that Arteta has in mind. But coming to City, I think, look, it's really difficult to do this year on year, and I think. Pep has really done a great job so far. Kudos to City on what they've achieved. But other teams are, I feel, catching up and catching up real fast. They are analyzing City better, and catching up on those differences, right? The details, as they say, the devil is in the details. So they are putting in the hard yards and giving a tough fight to teams like City. So it's no more, a crushing, defeat that they face against City, but they're trying to overturn, right? I think it also makes a difference with City's game plan in general, missing key players in midfield. You mentioned Rodri, De Bruyne is out. Gundogan, who was there, is not part of their
Not part of them.
side anymore. So those things, I feel, make a difference and exploit them more. But yeah, I think it's good to see this changing. It's not just all the way City anymore, but other teams are doing well as well.
Do you think they are lacking? Like you said, you spoke about Gundogan, you spoke about De Bruyne, you spoke about like even Mahrez
Yeah.
leaving.
Yeah.
Now these guys were with the City setup for a long time.
Right.
They've won numerous they won a Champions League. They've
Yeah.
won numerous Premier Leagues as well. Do you think there's like an experience issue in that squad? Because do you think there's a proper leader in that team that City are missing at the moment, and do you think that's what's costing them a little bit?
To be honest, I don't think there is a lack of senior players. Bernardo Silva is a prime example still, and I think they do have experienced players in their teams. Of course, with they're probably something trying to. So okay, so I think what got them here so far is not the same thing that's going to help them consistently do this, right? Or battle out teams who are catching on, right? So from that lens, I do I do like the fact that Haaland is coming and more maturing with the team, and the whole team structure is sort of shifting. But I do see that they are very much grounded. They have what it takes, and they still have that fire in them of not giving up, with their midfield and Bernardo Silva and other players, key players who are still part of the side.
Raghav, I want to ask you something. City came to Old Trafford, and there was a big confidence loss with our club, when we went down to a Erling Haaland penalty. But were you impressed with Chelsea, considering City taking the lead from a similar instance? Were you impressed with the mentality that Chelsea showed, not only to come back from when they were 1-0 down, but right up to 4-4 to make it 4-4? A lot of teams would crumble under that pressure to equalize. But were you impressed with Chelsea?
No, really impressed, man, because I'll just reiterate what I said. Chelsea haven't been bad this season. Their performances have been good, but their only issue has been putting the ball in that back of the net, across that goal line in between those posts.
Yeah.
That has been their prime problem this season. I think Poch has gotten through to the players, and he's instilling his philosophy, and I want to play this way, and the players are responding. That's the key thing when a new manager comes in. If he's instilling a philosophy into the players need to respond well and play in that way. So I think Chelsea players are responding, and I was really impressed the way they went toe to toe with City. They weren't bogged down that Kukurea gave away a penalty, Haaland converted, they're 1-0 down, City will keep control. That press was there. They were pressing City. The press was good. They never lost confidence. They played around City. They looked for their chances. They took their chances, more importantly.
And I think
Yeah.
like playing with a smaller club like Tottenham in the build up to the week against City really helps a team like Chelsea. So
Oh my God. That's a
Okay.
bold
Yeah.
take. Wow.
so
The North London bias is tingling.
no, but again, like think Tottenham are losing the plot, but anyway, I think it's just.
I
We'll-
think,
we'll-
yeah,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to
later.
that. But
Yeah.
basically, I just wanted to just reiterate that point a little bit, Raghu, because I think what I saw in that game in terms of City were I still feel they were lacking that leader on the pitch. Because for me, I have never seen City get so rattled. I have never
Yeah.
seen City be involved in that in like a game which is 4-4.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So I still think they were missing someone like a De Bruyne or a Gundogan on the field who would rally their troops and say, "Let's go. We have this lead. Let's not make any mistakes and let's see this game out."
Yeah.
And even when City took the lead, right, we all saw the game together, and we could see it on the screen that there's something wrong about this side, and I couldn't see anyone on the field who was trying to, like, organize the team or like try to, like, pump the team up, like, come on, let's go. And which you would often see with the likes of KDB on the field or with Gundogan on the field.
Yeah.
And you could see that this game is not over at 4-3 and Chelsea could still have something in that game. So my view on that was I think they were desperately missing a De Bruyne or a Gundogan on the field, not necessarily because of how they played, but the leadership on the field. I think that is something I feel that is lacking in City this season, and until De Bruyne comes back, that could be a little bit of a thorn in their shoe.
Yeah.
But Aditya, I just want to again get back to Chelsea. In terms of individual performances, I know as a team also you guys were good. You all conceded 4 goals. Defensively, there can be some improvements that have to be made. But if I have to ask you, which were the particular individuals that impressed you the most, who would you single out?
I mean, you have to start with the ex-City boys, no? Sterling and Palmer.
Yes.
They're quite good. I think Reece James was also really good for the 60-70 minutes that he was on. But Palmer, my God, every week in week out we see
Yes.
he's such a young player, but the composure, he was ice cold when he took that penalty. Such a pressure penalty, such a delay as well.
I remember you said he's going to miss, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling he was going to miss, but like that was just the nerves in myself. Clearly, I had more nerves in me than he.
Yeah.
I mean, really
And I
ice
think
cold.
he got called up for the England Euros.
Yeah, that happened just.
yeah.
It happened.
He
like,
got called out for the senior team?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
For this
Think
international break.
Mas-
Macedonia and
Yeah, Palmer
Oh.
got called up. Like that happened earlier today.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Replacement for Madison?
I'm not sure.
I
I
think
think
he's part
Madison-
of the squad. I don't know if
I
he's
don't
going to
know if
be
he's replaced
featuring,
Madison,
Yeah.
but he's been
part of the
brought in,
main
yeah.
Okay,
team.
nice.
From I think
That's
they
good.
were in under 21.
Yeah, he was called up
They
for the
got
under
bumped up
21
to
and
the
they
main
got
team.
Promoted to senior squad.
Yes.
Oh, okay, nice.
And yeah, and Sterling also. I mean, you talk about Walker, who's really good defensively, but Sterling constantly did give him trouble. Just changing speed, changing direction very quickly. And yeah, I feel like these two really, really helped us out in attack. And you have to talk about Gallagher and the work
the
rate.
midfield, like, considerably, I think where Chelsea lacked against Spurs was your midfield. And when I looked at the midfield in this game, I think Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher were actually bought to do this. Were
Yeah.
like to have high amounts of intensity and to not allow City that much time on the ball, especially in midfield.
Yeah.
And I think for me that was the game changer for Chelsea in this game. What do you
Yeah.
make of that?
Yeah, I mean the press was relentless. Like even players like Kukurea, like
yeah.
he made one mistake, but at one point you could see Kukurea pressing Rodri at the edge of the City box all the way to the touchline and then forcing a turnover. And we created a lot of high turnovers from such situations, from such like really high presses. We really disrupted City's game, and like Pep as a manager is someone who likes control. He craves control. Like if you
Yes.
read anything about Pep or any book about Pep or any if you read an interview by him, you'll see that he's a manager. He likes to keep possession. He likes to have control over most of the game, and that's how most of City games go. We really rattled them, and to that point, you said earlier that you haven't seen City like in a 4-4 before. Pep's 800 plus games before this, he's never been in a game in which his team have both scored 4 and conceded 4
Yeah.
in the same game.
It's the first time.
It's the first time. So that speaks volumes as to how much we rattled them and how much pressure we put on them, and we forced those little mistakes out of them. And I mean, I'm really, really impressed by that.
It was overall a very, very good performance.
Yeah.
And considering, of course, it was a win against Spurs, but considering how angry you were, I
Yeah.
think it was a very good response from Chelsea to come up with a performance like this. A little bit unlucky with the performance coming like this and then going into the international break.
Yeah.
You're not able to build on this because you don't have a game for another 2 weeks. So that comes at a little bit of a wrong time.
Yep.
But Raghu, in terms of Manchester City, like you said, teams are now understanding what they're
Yeah.
trying to do and they're adapting. They kind of know how to get at City. And a lot of us are before this have been saying it's just City, they'll eventually go on and win it. But do you think it's going to be very easy for them this season?
No, I think if anything, it's tougher than it ever has been. I mean, they faced the likes of Liverpool earlier. Last season there was us, and I just feel this season it might not just be Arsenal. There could be other teams, coming up the ranks as well.
The
who
points
are-
difference is so close.
Exactly.
It's so close
Exactly.
right now. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, of course, it's still early. It's still the first half of the season. Too many competitions to still go ahead of us. Injuries is something that's going to be key this season with the rules changing and all of that. But I feel it's going to be tougher for City, and I won't hands down say they're going to clinch it this season, or at least not at this stage. But it's definitely making football overall more exciting, to say the least. And I guess I could be misquoting, but it was, I think, Sir Alex who said this, that best time to build or rebuild is when you're at the top. But this is something that City are probably struggling with. Their challenges are going to change now.
Yeah.
Right. So of course they built their team. They took in those years to build on the side, which is commendable. But I think it's going to be a different challenge to stay at the top. And I would like to see them.
Everyone, I
lose,
think.
right. And of
Everyone,
course,
yeah.
I mean, who better to do it other than Arsenal, given what we have built? But let's see.
Yeah.
At the moment, I would say even Tottenham Hotspur could do it better than Arsenal.
Nope.
After last
Oh,
season's
come
bottle job,
on. Oh,
after,
come
after
on.
last season's bottle job, I don't think Arsenal. I don't rate Arsenal anymore because of that bottle job. So please pipe down. You lost a 7-point lead or something last season. So pipe down, lad. Just pipe down.
There are many factors at play, but anyway.
In many factors, you bottled a lead. That's it. That's where it ends. You had the title in your hands and you've bottled it. That's it. Finished.
Okay, we'll get.
How do you rate a team? How do you rate such a team?
We'll get to Arsenal later, but
Where was United, by the way, during all
We'll
this?
get to United later.
Anyway.
We
Yeah.
were in the top 4 and
we'll
we
get to that later.
I mean, come
There's
on.
a structure we follow, but
Yeah.
what do you make of City, Raga? Where do City go from here?
I
Above United. Anyway, sorry.
see. I mean, that's not even the debate. You want to get into a debate into that? I'll get into it. Don't worry.
No, I'll let go
No,
back to
because
Shan.
I think that they will be back. They'll be back, man. This is just a blip in the road. That this is just one of those patches where 3-4 games they'll go like this, and they'll. I think Prime City will be back in January, Feb. वो last year जैसे Arsenal से title लिया ना, same चीज आएगा.
Yeah, you still
जैसे Arsenal title bottle किया last year, same चीज होएगा वापस.
you still think they'll take the league?
Yeah, they will. Yeah,
Okay.
they take the lead from they take the title for me.
Okay. Aditya, with Chelsea, like you said, they've been very good against. Just to wrap things up, they've been really good against the big teams. It's where they struggle is the small teams that keep low blocks. So I think that's the next job, I think, for Poch to show that Chelsea can do it against the smaller teams, can't they?
Yeah, is that unlocking of like those low blocks
Yes.
and then taking those chances that we've struggled with. This could be a massive confidence boost, and I mean, we play Newcastle next, and if Eddie Howe is smart, I would bet on him like keeping a low block again. And it'll be interesting to see how we deal with that. Let's see what happens. Also, Nkunku is probably back after this, after the international break. So
nice.
that'll be interesting to see how we include him into the team and how that works in our favor. But yes, as you said,
Consistency is something where
Yeah.
what Chelsea need to build
Yeah.
on a little bit.
yes,
So,
especially against the lesser sides. So
Yes.
to like lesser sides.
but anyway, going into this, you go in pretty happy as a Chelsea
yeah,
fan
of course.
with what you've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. A very, very good result for Chelsea, coming back and showing their spirit to go toe to toe with the strong Manchester City side. We move on to the next game, and we'll talk about the things that we've learned from. What do you guys want to talk about? Which club do you want to talk about now? Oh, we'll go to Arsenal since we'll finish that off. Um, why are you asking water for in the middle of the stream?
No, I'm saying bottlers.
Bottle, he's
bottlers.
talking about
bottlers.
We'll talk
Okay.
about bottlers.
Oh my god, that was bottlers. Okay.
I got it. Yeah.
That was actually pretty good.
yeah, I got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
as soon as
I
you
didn't
did,
get it.
got
I was like, पानी वानी मांग रहा है, चल रहा है stream, बीच में ही पानी मांग रहा है. अच्छा, so we'll talk about the bottlers. Okay. Arsenal playing one of the most shittiest sides in the league. We'll start with you, Raghu. I'll start with the Arsenal fan. What do you made of that game?
I mean, firstly, kudos to how Trossard has performed over the past games, right? And moving into this fixture, the Champions League game also played a crucial part, and he's just been relentless, especially at such times when we're missing the likes of Gabby, and also in terms of Nketiah.
बहुत गैबी है रे, कौन सा बता? कुछ ज्यादा ही गैबी हो टीम में,
Gabby.
कौन सा
वो
बता?
पोजीशन में एक ही
He
है,
means Jesus.
but anyway.
Gabby Martinelli also can play as a striker.
But we're missing strikers, so
Gabby,
Martinelli is playing. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being, that's commendable in terms of what he has done. Really brave. I think as a unit we played really well. At home, of course, we had the advantage. But again, it's difficult. It's a different challenge. We are in more.
Yes.
We have more difficult fixtures overall. We are back in the Champions League. And these things do play a role. So really happy overall with the way we've clinched 3 points.
Yeah.
And onwards we go.
It was a good performance in general by Arsenal. Had a lot of chances. Should have scored all. Should have put Burnley to bed.
Yeah.
Disappointed with the one goal that you all conceded. The way that you all conceded.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate and goes back to the keeping situation in general. And again, keeping a clean sheet at home has been funnily a challenge. But anyway, it's been great to see what Raya has done in terms of keeping, and also our defense has been really strong this season in terms of overall goals
Yes.
conceded. Right.
Y'all are one of the best defenses.
Right.
Y'all have been one of the best defenses last season as well.
Right.
And even this season, y'all have been
Think least
one
goals
of the
conceded.
best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I just quickly I wanted to ask you, Raghu, just like a quick question. What do you, since this is your first outing on the show?
Yeah.
What do you make of? I think we can speak about it more in
Right.
detail in a future episode.
Yeah.
But I just want to know quickly, what do you make of the Raya versus the Ramsdale debate, and who is your preferred goalkeeper playing? Because they both equally have their strong traits.
Yeah.
But what's your view on it? Just like a quick summary.
Sure. I think it's tricky to answer the second bit on who's my favorite. I think that the person who's best to get the job done for the team would be my absolute favorite. But
A diplomatic answer, man.
what?
Just
No,
तू politician
seriously,
बन जा
man.
भाई.
That's the reason why we're building on this, right?
Yeah,
There's a reason. I
Yeah.
think that's what Arteta mentioned.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he wants to have that flexibility, and he wants to have that competitiveness going into these tough fixtures and competition. So I'm really impressed by how Reyes fit into the team, and the positivity that's there in the team in spite of all the media noise between Ramsdale and Raya.
yes.
The relationship that they have shared and spoken about in interviews and otherwise. So really happy to see Raya perform well, and think I would continue betting on him for fixtures, at least for the league and even in Champions League. But quickly wrapping up on the situation of two goalkeepers, I'm really I'd back my manager on that front, saying, hey, this is really something that is a good tactical ability to have, right?
Yeah.
Especially when your playing style, your game plans revolve around distribution so much, playing from the playing out from the back.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's really key, and I'm really happy that we have that option now.
Aditya, they came like I said, they came up against a side which has been one of the worst
Yeah, I knew you'd come to me with this
teams.
one.
And yeah, you've been that
The Burnley
backer,
bandwagon is.
the Burnley backer for a long time, and I know where you've been coming
Yeah.
from. They were impressive in the championship last season, but they're just not able to like play that way in, or perform that way in the Premier League. Another loss. Where do like what's going wrong for them, like in a nutshell?
I mean, the step up from the Championship to the Premier League's
Hmm.
quite massive, and I really admire the way they try to play their own system
Yes.
and try to keep their system from the Championship, because most relegated teams, they just come up and you know what you get every week. It's like low block, try to get one on the counter, get to 38 was the magic number, get to 38 points, avoid relegation. So in that sense, I was quite impressed with, like, I admire them for trying to play the way they did, but I mean, this is a whole different league, and you get punished for every minute mistake. So I would question if they have the quality to play this way in the Premier League
Hmm.
as opposed to the Championship. I don't know if Company is going to change it up, because he doesn't seem like a manager who will.
Yeah.
And I would definitely like for them to succeed with this style of play, because I do admire it, to be honest. And it's not like it's been all bad, because the games I have watched them play.
They've been unlucky as well a lot
Exactly.
of times. Yeah.
So I would like for them to succeed with this style of play, but again, like, if you also have to learn on the fly, and you also have to adapt
Hmm.
to certain situations, and that's also key in this situation. So I don't know, like, if I don't know how long he has either, because if this keeps going,
Yeah.
if they're fast becoming favorites for relegation,
Yes.
because now even Sheffield United,
Sheffield, Luton, both are doing better.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long this will go.
Bournemouth have picked up the pace as
Yep.
well with a very handsome victory. We'll talk about.
Yeah.
We'll touch on it a little bit later.
Yeah.
राघव भाई बोल दे क्या बोलना है आर्सेनल के बारे में और अरे वो दिखा
Their
दिया.
only title from last season.
So you think Spurs are going to do a better job than Arsenal in the title race?
Nah.
अभी तो वही तो बोला तो Spurs will do
वो तो
something
वो तो
better.
उसके लिए बोला ना.
क्यों
अरे,
उसको?
वो उसको भड़काने के लिए बोलना पड़ता है.
अच्छा ऐसा है क्या?
वो मेरा जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार है.
अच्छा okay.
तो
But
वो
yeah,
वो
what-
एक्सरसाइज करना पड़ेगा.
What do you make of Arsenal? Like for me, they've been pretty impressive. They have the depth in their squad to now kind of tackle these situations where if Jesus is out and Ketia is out, you can play Trossard there. Whereas last season they were missing that. Towards the end also they didn't have like players to bring on. They didn't have players to like mix it up. They were just playing a static team that maybe in the end costed them. But coming to how close it is now in the Premier League, definitely Arsenal are the closest challengers to Manchester City.
I would say Arsenal and Liverpool are on the same level, but I think more than depth, the mentality will come into play when the hard yards are coming in. I think last season that's where Arsenal lacked.
Mm.
They lacked depth obviously, but they didn't have the mentality to push on when the
Stakes were high.
when the stakes were high.
Yes.
They drew to Southampton. They blew 2-goal leads for fun.
Mm.
Like they were like, हम यही करेंगे, हमें खेलना नहीं आता है. That's what it felt like, because you need the City kind of mentality to win titles.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Like that. I know what you're trying to say. Like
exactly.
that. Like that scrapey wins.
Exactly. You
You know,
don't
like-
need to win 3-0, 4-0.
Yes.
You need to win one. That's why I was pretty impressed with Arsenal City performance,
Yeah.
because
It
that was
something
that
different.
kind of a performance.
Yes.
So I'll not make any assumptions now, but I'll wait till March, because the mentality will be tested. March, April, May, February onwards is time where a team is really challenged.
Mm.
The title race heats up, or even goes off pretty quickly. Within a span of 4 weeks, the title race could be heated up, or it could be over.
Just to conclude on this game, Raghu, we've been talking about mentality, and how key do you think is the signing of Declan Rice in that midfield when we talk about mentality? Because there's not only been a change in he's been contributing with important goals as well, but also in terms of the leadership, which we always knew he had because he was the captain at West Ham.
Yep.
Came into this team winning the Conference League.
Yeah.
How impressed have you been with Rice in your midfield?
I mean, absolutely. Think it's still with still Odegaard being the captain. He's not. He's been fitting into that
Yes.
team, being that voice, regardless of who the on paper captain is. He really brings in that energy, fresh energy to the team. He's not afraid. That's shown on the pitch in his style of playing. He drives the ball through the entire midfield, literally of our opponents. Think that kind of game style and play goes to show what kind of a mentality and mettle that player has.
Yes.
Of course, it's still he has started off on a very good journey with us, and I think he wants to achieve great things with us and make this one count. And it'll be really exciting to see how that spans out over the next few months. But to your question, I think it's incredible. We're so lucky to have him, and yeah, that's amazing. Again, his goal against Chelsea would really be that much more sweeter for me, to be honest. But yeah, I shouldn't have rejected him.
Yes,
No,
yes, we all know you came back from 2-0 down to draw that game.
No,
so
but
no need to remind me about
Declan
it.
Rice scoring. You guys rejected him. I think in
It's-
the past he did.
No,
He
they
was
didn't
there in-
reject him. He's
I
from
mean,
their
He
youth
got
academy.
dropped,
we
right?
got
He
dropped
didn't
from
get
the
a
academy.
contract. He
Yeah.
got
It's
dropped.
okay. It's nice that you all
That's
are
why it's sweeter.
it's nice that you all are actually signing players who are approaching their prime as opposed to past their prime from us. now, so.
Willian and Peter Cech.
Yeah,
for
Cech.
David Luiz, bro.
David Luiz.
Absolute legend.
Yes.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. So
Yeah, Arsenal's
Hands down.
recruitment has really been really impressive, and yeah, it's been another good win for Mikel Arteta and his team. They keep the hunt for the Premier League more tighter, I would say, and more competitive. We'd move on to the next team from North London. It was all hey
North
hey
London में bottle ही भरे पड़े हैं.
hey at the start with Postecoglou coming in, and everyone was on the bandwagon of Ange is here, and Spurs are going to beat there. Spurs is here, Spurs is there, everywhere scoring goals left, right, and center. And now against what happened against Chelsea, losing players, now they've been pulled down to reality. We'll start with you, Raghav. 2 back-to-back losses. And not only that, they've lost the likes of Madison and Van de Ven, and that showed this week in a 2-1 loss to Wolves. What do you make of it?
They got hunted by the wolves. I mean, ये जरूरत था. I missed this. I missed being on the panel. I wanted this. But yeah, no. The Madison missing showed the creativity and that magic that he used to show on the field, and that he was their best creative player.
Yeah.
He is still being out. I think he would play better than Lo Celso on one leg. I think he's their best player, and Van de Ven used to allow Postecoglou to play that high line
Yeah.
because he's really good at
It
covering
was
space.
very assuring
He's
at the
very
back
rapid.
as well.
He's very rapid,
Yeah.
and his positioning is as well is really good.
Mm.
That showed, and Eric Dyer was, I mean, what to say?
Mm.
It showed, man. Van de Ven and the drop off was it was so
very
evident.
significant. Yes.
Exactly, and Romero being out on a suspension, it just compounded their problems.
Aditya, we said, Madison. We kept talking about Spurs even when they were like cruising to victories, and when people used to ask us like, are Spurs really here to challenge top 4 easily, easy peasy? We kept saying that what if Madison is out? What if Van de Ven gets injured? What if something happens to Son? And to the bad luck of Spurs, it happened, and they lost Madison, they lost Van de Ven in that single game, and they went into this game at the Molineux facing Wolves, and those two misses really showed one day because Wolves were all over them. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I mean, these Madison and Van de Ven probably the two most influential players, like in that transformation for Spurs, along with maybe Vicario.
Yes.
To lose them both in the same game is obviously massive, and you could see Højbjerg was not. He's not like up to it in that game, and even more so for Eric Dyer and Ben Davis, two players who are massively out of favor anyway, and who wouldn't be playing right now. So Yeah, like they lost their way kind of, especially in that midfield. And now
Yes.
Bissouma suspended for the next game, so that's going to be an even bigger miss.
5 yellows?
Yeah, he's got his 5th yellow this time. So they're going to have problems. They have Bentancur coming back,
Yes.
which is like a silver lining basically.
Yeah.
So they've really got to hope that he can plug some of like that hole to some extent, because Madison's just, his creative output is really like, it's an elite level
Yeah.
in the Premier League. So you any team would miss Madison.
And Raghu, it's a big drop off. Like we talk about the players in their midfield. It's
Yep.
Madison, it's Lo Celso, and then you have the likes of Bissouma, Pap Sar, and you have Højbjerg. And I don't know if I missed anyone.
Bentancur.
And Bentancur. When you remove Madison from that team, then you lose that creative ability, because the rest of the midfielders,
Yep.
Lo Celso has it a little bit, but he's never been able to show it in a Tottenham jersey. But then you come to those midfielders, and it looks like that they don't have that creative ability. They're just good at winning the ball and just spraying it around. But to get that final pass, that's what's lacking with Spurs. So what do you make of those midfield issues that they have, with now Madison being out until the new year?
No, I agree. I mean, that's really unfortunate for them. I think creativity, especially in midfield, is not something that's easy to plot against. So you can read players, you can watch their previous games, you can understand their strengths and weaknesses. But on that given day, the creative midfield players, what they bring to the side is unpredictable and as an advantage to the side, right? On a day where the set pieces are not clicking, where
Yes.
your the preset conditions and passing patterns are not clicking, what a creative midfielder brings, and that breath of fresh energy, and as you said, that creative spark is really important. And especially when Wolves, a team like Wolves, I think they lost to Sheffield, so they came to this game on the back of a loss against Sheffield, where they're even more charged up to win at home.
Yes.
I think it is a big loss for Spurs on that day, of course, that costed them the game, but also with the fact that Maddison is not available, is really going to hurt them for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like as you said, creativity in midfield, especially for teams like Spurs, like these top teams, like they'll regularly face low blocks, and to unlock those low blocks, you need that one guy who can give that one pass.
Yeah.
And now it seems like they're going to have to create those chances of high turnovers as opposed to
Yes.
like an actual pass, defense splitting pass, and that's a big loss. And I'm a little surprised they didn't have like any other backup
Yes.
as a
I
creative
think they
midfielder.
went into the season thinking it was Lo Celso.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean that's like a big, massive drop off from Madison. I think most players would be.
Yeah.
Maybe Bentancur can fill that role. Maybe. Let's see.
Also, with another point, talking about creative midfielders like Madison, we have players like Madison, Odegaard for Arsenal, Bruno Fernandes for Man United, De Bruyne for City. I think when these players are missing, like Raghu said, even if it's not clicking in the game, like these players are game changers. Like they can get goals from any different types of scenarios. They're moment players. Set pieces, or trying to just beat someone. They'd get 10 passes wrong, but they can find that one pass which would make you go So I think that's a big miss for that will be a big miss for Tottenham going into the season ahead. We'll have to see how that pans out. But Aditya, quick thought on Wolves. Another impressive performance. A lot of people thought going into the season they're going down, but props again to Gary O'Neill. I don't know if you guys have seen. I think if you haven't, you definitely should watch it. The post-match briefing, they got it on camera and they
Okay.
put it on their website. And
Nice.
the briefing that Gary O'Neill gave to his players,
Right.
he went on the basis of saying that what I have seen from you guys is so commendable,
Yeah.
because I know that me as a player would have never been that good as what y'all were,
Wow.
and me as a player could have never. I'm 100% sure that I could have never given that effort, and
Yeah.
I didn't have that quality. So somewhere at the back of my mind, me thinking, telling you to do it when I could never do it,
Yeah.
and y'all showing it to me that y'all can do it, and what y'all have done was magical. That video was absolutely fantastic, and he single-handedly kept Bournemouth on top
Yeah.
last season.
I'm shocked
And
they let him go.
it's shocking that Bournemouth released him, and he's gone to Wolves, and he's showing that it wasn't a fluke,
Yep.
and there's something really right at what he's doing. What do you make of Wolves?
Yeah, you spoke about Spurs missing key players. I mean, Wolves were missing Pedro
Pedro
Neto. And
Neto,
like,
yes.
he's there. He's been their creator-in-chief. He's been involved in so many goals for them this season. And to miss him and still get the results, absolutely massive. And they did have a lot of chances as well. It's not like...
Yes, they had the better chances
Exactly.
in the game.
It's not
yes.
like it was not like a late smash and grab. They got 2 chances, they put 2
yes,
in. They could have got 3, 4 maybe.
absolutely.
And like, when you want to talk about quality, that goal from Sarabia,
Yes,
the touch and the finish, absolutely first class.
brilliant.
To come onto the pitch and do that 3 minutes later, brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Raghav, the second goal, you were quite impressed with the pass and the movement. Sarabia again. What do you make of the second goal?
It was inch perfect, man, because Lemina had to time his run perfectly, and Sarabia had to time his pass perfectly.
Yes.
So it worked like it went like clockwork.
Yep.
Lemina made the run, Sarabia made that putt perfectly, and
Straight from the training ground.
yeah, straight out
from the training ground.
and
yeah.
Lemina, even that he's in that midfield. Lemina is just, and Totti Gomez. Those two are playing really well for that most midfield.
Yep. Yep.
And Lemina is showing that he used to be a key player for Southampton, although they went down.
Yeah.
But he was a key player for Southampton as well.
Yes.
He was he and Lavia used to be in that midfield.
Yep.
But yeah, he's showing his real true colors. He's a really good player, man. I'm impressed with him.
Fantastic. So another back-to-back losses for Tottenham, and finally reality is hitting them. We'll have to see how they go. They're facing a lot of suspensions as well. Like Aditya pointed out, Bissouma is going to miss the next game. So it's tough facings for Postecoglou. We'll have to see how everything turns out for Spurs. But we'll move on to our team, Raghav. Luton Town visiting Old Trafford. We got the job done. 1-0 win. What did you make of the game? We should have got more, but all in all, it was a better performance considering how the week earlier went for us.
I mean, we are way better than what we played at Fulham.
Yes.
And we are way better than that.
Yep.
I don't think we can compare that. But our only problem is confidence. We had so many chances. Like Garnacho, there was a Garnacho chance. There was a Rashford chance where they should have just hit it first time, but they decided to take a touch, and that allowed the Luton defense to just come in front and block the shot off. So I think the confidence issue is really nagging us. It's not enabling us to kill off games.
Yes.
We need that confidence back, and I think that will build slowly. These wins are of course crucial, but then games like Copenhagen come by and we play well, but then
it hurts.
it hurts.
Something happens.
Yeah,
like
something happens and something
some
happens.
voodoo drops in the game, and then we.
कुछ तो भाई ये पक्का ये आर्सेनल फैन ही करता है. पक्का यही करता है भाई काला जादू.
Raghu, quickly on United, that there were a lot of people that got onto the backs of United, maybe due to performance issues. But I want to know, what do you make of what's going on at United at the moment? And do you think we have, 5 points off top 4 at the moment?
yeah.
And
7 points of
7 points off the lead. Do you think all this criticism and all this media pointing out, coming to Ten Hag, do you think that's justified? Considering you as a Arsenal fan have been in that position where your manager took time to build things. There were a lot of egos in your dressing room as well. And I still remember a lot of injuries you guys had as well during that tenure. You all got a new club doctor, which we have poached now. What do you make of all this? Do you think this justified a little bit what Ten Hag is facing at the moment, or do you think it's fair?
No, to be honest, instead of it's fair or not, when someone comes and steps into a big club like United at such a crucial moment, I think he can expect things to be unfair towards him.
Yes.
You can't expect media and others to be understanding. At the end of the day, fans come and support because they love watching you win, right? And they want to see that week in, week out. So I think, but on the contrary, I think Ten Hag as a manager is someone who can maybe, I mean, this is just my opinion, where if he's given time, he can turn the club around. Of course, backing from the management is something that's
Yes.
super crucial. That's something I'd say we were lucky to have and
Yes.
do have so far. But you also need someone who is going to keep the criticism out of that dressing room and say, guys, look, let's pull ourselves together and put on a good show, right?
Mm.
And I think Ten Hag does have those qualities, and he is mature as a manager. Arteta is probably slightly different, being one of the youngest. He brings in that energy and raw fire.
Mm.
His methods of motivation are also probably different. But in that sense, probably slightly different scenarios, Arsenal and United.
Yes.
But instead of saying whether the criticism is justified or not, I'm really keen to see how Ten Hag takes this head on,
Yeah.
and would be really nice to see actually him turn the club around if he's given time, which is absolutely crucial at this stage. Again, going back to the points you both made on should have killed the game early on, coming to the game itself. 18 touches, I think, in the first half in the opposition box.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And also you guys have had games where McTominay scored that winner.
Yeah. Brentford.
The guys went absolutely crazy.
Hmm.
So I think it is starting to show. There are signs of it,
Yeah.
but it is going to take time.
Yeah.
And until then, I think the manager, the players, and the fans alike are going to put up with more criticism,
Yep.
either justified or not. Yeah.
Aditya, like with United, Ten Hag has lost his entire back four, most
Yeah.
spells of the season until now. He's still missing Lisandro. He's still missing
Yep.
Shaw. Van Bissaka has just come in.
Yep.
We had this back and forth as to you were like really, you kind of made that point that when Rodri doesn't play,
Yep.
City doesn't click.
Yeah.
So, for many teams, now say if you have a consistent back four and a defensive midfielder, like for example, say for Arsenal, right? You remove Zinchenko all at once. You remove Zinchenko, you remove Gabriel, Gabriel,
Yeah.
you Saliba and White and Declan Rice. If all of those 5 players come out from the team and then you replace them with whatever you have,
Hmm.
the team is bound to struggle, right? So there is going to be a drop off in performance considerably how well our defense did last season. So do you think like the media, like I understand what Raghu said that if you are at United you're bound, you should be used to that criticism, but do you think that the media has gone a little bit overboard considering how many difficulties he has been facing or how many fires Ten Hag has been putting out at the club?
I mean, in a sense, yes, and in a way, Ten Hag's also not helped his own position with these personal feuds he seems to have with players like Ronaldo, obviously the big one, Sancho. Now again, like the Varane situation is interesting. I don't know why he's not starting, but I also think he answered that one beautifully. Like
Yes.
when you're at a top club, it doesn't matter if it's justified or not. You're going to face that pressure, and we had it last season when Potter was at the helm, and we floundered.
Yeah.
Um,
Which was not a right decision taken by the management,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah, but
Don't go
anyway.
there.
I think you guys have it worse
Yeah.
off in terms of management in that
Yes.
sense.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's a big loss. Obviously, it's a big loss. And when you lose your first choice back four, it's now going to be easy to like replace. If you take one out, and you can still find someone to replace.
Yes.
But also United have had other problems. I feel like so Casemiro's form in itself
Has dipped.
it has dipped. It's not entirely his fault. He's been asked to do a lot more. That's also there, but I also feel that he would be able to do it. Like so, last season the way he played, he's not playing that same way in this season. Like his form's definitely dropped,
Yes.
and you all have other players who are not in form. Rashford being the most notable one.
Yeah.
But coming back to your question, maybe a bit unfair, but it'll be interesting to see how he deals with it, and also how the management, like the people above him, deal with it, because it can be so easy. Like again, like drawing parallels to us last season, can be so easy to just give in to a certain amount of pressure and just sack the manager, because it's always easier to sack the manager than to replace the whole squad. But anyway, like I mean, maybe a bit unfair, but it has to be dealt with.
Raghav, like the biggest issue, like you said at the start, we had is killing off games, and it's been hitting us a lot this season, and the confidence as well in front of goal, the chance that Garnacho missed, the chance that what do you say, Rashford missed. It's really hurting us, right? And what do you think these guys need to do better? Like, because there's been a confidence drop off. The goals just don't seem to be coming. We are not able to like, get into third, fourth gear and then just cruise along. We keep making it difficult for ourselves. What do you think needs to improve? Like,
I seriously don't know what we have to improve, because confidence is something that it comes with scoring goals. Like, we just need, I personally feel that we just need that one game. Like, everything goes in our favor.
yes.
Like, we bang in like 4 goals. Like, we win
We
it
thought that
4-0.
would be Copenhagen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the way we started, I mean, wow.
I
The
still
first 40 minutes-
remember when Hoyland scored under 3 minutes. I was like, what match am I seeing? Like, we've scored under 3 minutes.
ये jersey निकालो, sky blue रहेगा इसके नीचे.
And then I was like, bhai, sachi. And then I was like, after what, 12 minutes, 2-0? I was like, bhai, after a long time, chalo bhai, let's see
Chill
the game. And then bang, bang, red, this, that. I'm like, what is this? Like literally. And like, I agree, like we do need that game where.
we need that one game where everything goes for us.
Yeah.
Like, Rashford gets that one long range in. Garnacho gets that beats 2 defenders, then scores 1 goal.
Yes.
Bruno gets in 1 goal. We need that. We need to play like Copenhagen. I think Copenhagen, the first 40 minutes was
Brilliant.
the best performance.
Of
was
the
the
season.
best performance
Of
of
the
our season. I mean,
100%.
too good. Copenhagen was nowhere near us.
Nowhere. They couldn't
We-
touch us.
Yeah, exactly. They were
Until the
chasing
red card,
shadows.
they couldn't touch us.
They
Yes.
were chasing shadows.
Yes.
So I think we need that one game, and I think once that game arrives,
Yeah.
I don't think from there it's all
Yeah.
uphill for us. Until then, I think this is gonna go on.
Yeah.
But-
Until
Yeah.
that one game comes in, I think
But
it's
just
gonna
a
go on.
just a follow up on that. Sorry, Apu, I think
Yeah, go
hold
on,
that
go on.
thought. Just on that front, of course, you want games where everything goes in your favor, like comfortable 3-0, 4-0 victory. Of course, that's great. But do you guys think? And again, as United fan, I haven't watched the Luton game that well, and United games in general. But how much do you think it's about at the on the face of a setback? Let's say a red card. Vieira also got a red card
Yes.
in the Arsenal game. How do you react to that? Is what makes up for the confidence that
Exactly.
you're talking about?
I'll answer that for you. That there has been a confidence issue in this United side for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
This is not only this season. We have
Right.
buckled under pressure.
Yeah.
From the last 2 seasons where we've got big defeats.
Yeah.
We lost 7-0.
Yeah.
City have
6-1,
beat us
like
6-1, whatever. Tottenham, I think,
Tottenham
under
6-1,
Mourinho
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Ole.
No,
Mourinho.
Tottenham
Under
was
Ole, Mourinho was the- yeah, correct,
yeah,
correct.
bring back
And
to Old
then
Trafford.
also City came to Old Trafford. Liverpool came to Old Trafford, beat us 5-0.
Yeah.
City came, beat us 2-0, but we couldn't
Schooled
touch the
us.
ball.
Arsenal as well.
But
एक मिनट, आर्सेनल कब भरा है बे ओल्ड ट्रैफर्ड में?
नहीं भरा नहीं but
no,
हारा है नहीं ना, तो बस खत्म कर.
y'all have never outplayed us. Y'all have won, but never
Yeah.
like the way
Of
I'm talking
course.
about these
Yeah,
teams. But
yeah. This
I'm sorry. I think there is a mentality issue at this club,
yeah.
and it is the testament to the scouting that's happened at this club, where players have not been properly scouted.
Mhm.
Not only because for me, football now is not only the physical aspect of how you play,
Mhm.
but it's also to test the mental abilities of this player as to how they've been performing at previous clubs,
Right.
which I think was a big issue. That the scouting was not done perfectly with a lot of players that have come into this team. So I think hopefully we improve with the takeover happening soon, with a new board and a new sporting setup on the top. Hopefully that happens as well. There was a big change with you guys as well in
Yeah.
terms of recruitment, not only in terms of the ability of the player
Yeah.
on the physical side, but also on the mental side.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to change, and hopefully that will happen in the future years. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
It's not going to show in the next year, in the next 2 years. years, but that will take time, and hopefully that bears fruit.
So
I'd
what
like
I
to
heard,
I would just
Yeah,
like to add one
sure.
point because you're saying that on the face of the setback,
yeah,
I think the manner of the setback as well plays a big role because, like, you look at the calls, like the Rashford red card. I don't think it was a red. Like you talk about applicability of the
fair.
rule.
Yeah,
Like,
No, but
No,
does that
we've
not-
suffered. I would say we've suffered more than anybody with VAR.
No, but
The applicability of VAR and all.
No, actually, see the red card also. When I see the rule, I agree with you. When I see the rule, for me that rule is not right, but according to the rule, it is a red card. Like I know what you're trying to say. For me, that is not. But according to
What do
the
you have
rule
to say
says,
about the Haaland penalty?
no,
yeah,
but
no,
can
but
I just
there
just
is a
say,
stat. There is a stat that United, considering since the inception of VAR, the decisions that have gone against United is the most in the league.
And this season itself, we are at a net goal of -5.
It's
due
not
to
about
VAR and
cribbing,
stuff.
but I'm just
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
that there have been decisions that have gone against us. For me, a lot of instances I can clearly point out the Romero handball, and even against them at a crucial time, Gabriel in the big games, like
Garnacho.
Gabriel
Garnacho offside.
pulling Hoyland
Yeah,
down.
Gabriel to
So I mean, I'm not cribbing.
Yeah.
I'm taking those defeats. I'm not saying
fair. No, I
that
get what you're
those
saying.
are the decisions. If those decisions didn't happen, that doesn't mean that we've been playing shit. We have been playing shit.
Fair. No, I get it.
I'm
Yeah.
not talking about that. Performances have lacked tremendously, but decisions like that, if it does not go on your favor, especially when your team is lacking confidence, it takes more of you.
Yeah,
Rather than
exactly
when
my
it
point.
goes for you, it can give you that boost.
Right.
Like say, for example, if that penalty was given, we take the lead, and then
Yeah.
it's a totally different game,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Say even the Garnacho, where he was through, he scored that goal. He scores that goal, it's totally a different game. So there have been instances in that moments where it's gone against us. I'm not cribbing. Every team gets decisions that go against them, but it's how you react against them. United have to do more to react. And let's see where it goes. I think that we can go on talking about this. We'll
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
move
Yeah.
on. So basically, we're coming to the end of the show. We've covered the most important games, I think, that we've learned a lot about from these games. I think we've all come to a consensus that these were the most important games of the game week.
Yep.
But we'll just end with a small segment. I'm going to ask each of you guys one thing that shocked you this entire game week, or something that surprised you. I'll start with you, Raghu.
Okay, you're putting me on the spot. Thing with the Spurs Wolves game, Huang as a striker wasn't as impressive, given the build up and the all the media buzz and all of that going into that game. I think at such times the other players coming in and getting the job done for the manager really stands out as a surprise for me, when key players who you expect to perform, or the focus players of that game week, tank.
Okay.
The team still gets the job done. That, I think, for me stands out, especially coming from the bench, Sarabia and
Yes.
getting the job done. Huang, I think, didn't stats don't go in his favor. He didn't have a great game, but in spite of that, Wolves coming on and doing
winning.
that
With
really stands out.
so what you're trying to say, Wolves winning without Wang shining is your
Exactly right.
okay. That's a good assumption. What's the one for you?
I mean, this wasn't as much a surprise for me, but I'm pretty sure this surprised a lot of people. But Chelsea's performance against City, like the
Yeah.
way it was absolutely fearless. We didn't hold back, we didn't hesitate, we just went at them, we hounded them, we forced some mistakes out of them. So I'm sure that surprised a lot of people. I don't think anyone expected Chelsea to come away with anything in this game. So to come away with 4 goals in that game against City, and that performance, I think that would be a big surprise for most people.
Yeah, it's a big. I mean, given that there were so many goals.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely.
Raga, what about you? Quickly.
Cole Palmer, like his performance was unreal for me. I read somewhere that Cole Palmer was the player that Chelsea were thinking they were getting in Kai Havertz. Yeah, seriously, that's what they thought.
There was an
So
inside source.
yeah,
I think.
so I think he
That's a
played
fair
really
assumption.
well, man.
Yeah.
And against City, against his former club, to perform in such a way, to perform so well. He I think he led that attack. He played well really in that attack. Disjointed attack. That don't take chances. They took chances. So I think I was really pleasantly surprised with his performance. Cole Palmer really played well for me.
How about you, Shan?
And I crossed 100 on FPL.
How
with
about you, Shan?
with some support and anyway.
Yeah, I think
Cool.
just to round up for me, I think the biggest shock came when
हम लोग जीत गए.
नहीं वो तो ठीक है वो तो ठीक है, but for me the biggest shock of the game week was Newcastle losing to Bournemouth.
That's a good shout, actually.
Yeah,
For
shout.
me
Yeah.
that was because we came home after that incident, and that was the
Right.
only game I could catch on the day
Right.
live, and I was like shocked how Bournemouth beat Newcastle as well,
Yeah.
because there are results where smaller teams have lesser chances and the other teams keep attacking, but the ball can't go in. But Bournemouth legit played well in that game, and I was shocked with how Newcastle, considering coming into this game, like how they played against Arsenal, coming and going against a team like Bournemouth, who were not coming into this with a very good run of form. So I was surprised how Bournemouth won at the Vitality Stadium. So for me, that was the shock of the
I think
game
it's
week.
not so much of a surprise because shifting from UFC to football is a big challenge.
yeah, I think they finally they were told which sport
Yeah,
they had
exactly.
to play this game
They were
with,
confused actually.
and they actually sucked
And
at
where
that
where
sport.
the lines exist.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think they were told to
Yeah,
keep their hands down and not hit heads.
exactly.
So yeah, the change in the sport kind of
Really hurt
showed
them.
how bad they were. But anyway, we come to the end of the show. I think it was a fantastic game week to round up. We are all sad now because two more weeks of no Premier League football
Yeah.
I'm not.
and just some crap. You
mean,
might know, you're a German
You're
fan.
moving to
Actually,
Germany.
yeah, I
So
mean-
yeah, but two boring weeks of hopefully India will salvage our India
Change
playing
the
the
sport of
semi-final
hockey, yeah.
against New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that will salvage our week, hopefully. So yeah, I think we come to the end, like I said, and it's been fantastic your response to our videos, and we'd like you guys to do again a little bit more. You guys know the drill. Subscribe, like, and especially comment on what you think your views are regarding what teams you support, and if you agree or don't agree with our views. The socials are all tagged on the overlay, and hit the subscribe button as usual. Support us. Tell us what we're doing wrong. Tell us what we can do better. Tell us if you love us as well. That will motivate us to do better. And yeah, with that we come up to the end of the show. Thank you, Raghu. Brilliant first debut for you. Thank you guys for
Jersey
being
could
here.
have been better.
No, but again, thank you so much. I also want to give a quick shout out to all the people who work with us, even behind the scenes, and we take turns amongst ourselves.
Yes.
We're doing all of this is a first time, and all the groups, close football groups on WhatsApp where we discuss these
Yes.
games, and where we get feedback. So I would also encourage our viewers, old and new alike, to share it in your football groups on
Yeah.
WhatsApp groups, and again
To be part of the
yeah,
community.
yeah,
To be part of the
exactly.
full-time
Join
Ultra
in and-
community. Yes.
yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you so much again.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to be part of this.
Yeah, so with that, we'll take your leave. This is the end of the video, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Cool.